Good day and welcome to part 2 of how to manage a successful IT services consulting practice. My name is Stefan Hawkinshaw. I'm an IT consulting practice entrepreneur with many years of global experience in consulting. Today we'll be focusing on cash flow as one of the key challenges faced by consulting practices. In the previous video we covered the core service pillars of a consulting practice, namely resource, time, customer and project. These pillars are supported by various functions. Today we'll be looking at finance management, specifically cash flow, and how that could be managed and what is the challenges faced by consulting companies. So what is cash flow? Cash flow is the in and outflow of funds in the organization. It could easily be mistaken by profit. What is my income, that's my expenses, but that doesn't help cash flow. Cash flow is more linear. It's a point in time. When am I expecting to receive income from customers, invoice payments? When do I need to pay some expenses? And would I have sufficient funds at that point in time to actually settle those expenses? So one way of looking at it is almost like an income statement and looking at my income versus expenses over periods in time, which is great, and that's a long-term view, and it is equally important. However, I've got shorter and longer period flows, which is also divided into more fixed and more flexible dates. So for instance, if I look at the customer invoice, the customer is already invoiced, there's a fixed due date, so I expect that money to come in on that specific date. If I've got timesheets that was generated for work that I've done, I haven't invoiced it yet, it is more flexible. So I know that if I invoice that time now, based on the terms of that customer, I can expect that income to come in somewhere in the future, probably only in 30 days or 60 days. The same with vendor expenses. If I looked at planned expenses, I plan to pay rent on the 1st of the month. I plan to pay certain taxes on the 7th or 10th or 15th of the month. So I've got specific dates that I plan those expenses in the future, and I can work that out. Other flexible expenses might be assignment income. Assignment income is a purchase order received from a customer where I need to deliver work over the next couple of weeks or months. I know what is the left to spend, in other words, the outstanding work to be delivered, and I can divide that over the period that's available, looking at dates and capacity, and then divide that in the future. So assignment income I can maybe plan for the next 3, 4, 5 months, etc. Then I've got pipelines. Now, pipeline or sales pipeline is something that I plan for the future. I know that I've got a chance or probability of getting that work, so I can proportionate that work. So maybe it's R1 million. I can, and it needs to be delivered over 10 months. It's only going to start in 3 months' time. So from month 4, I can actually expect to receive some income there. If there's a probability of saying I've got 50% probability of receiving the work, I can proportionate it to say, but only provide for 50% of that income in the future. And similarly to the expenses associated to that. So how do I manage cash flow? Now, one of the common things that happen is spreadsheets. Pull up a spreadsheet, start jotting down what income I expect from where, what expenses I expect to pay, balancing maybe my input cost versus the invoice rates, and it could be a tiresome exercise, but it could be accurate. I can get financial application to do my budget on there. Maybe it incorporates invoicing, so it's halfway there. I can use an online budgeting app, or I can transfer financial transactions from various systems onto a spreadsheet, maybe combining my sales pipeline, outstanding purchase orders, invoices raised, other planned expenses, etc. So all of this is helping me. It's taking me in the right direction, because I start planning and I want to know, will I have sufficient funds at the point where I need it? But it might be a daunting task keeping that up to date. And if you want to do it frequently, going through the same exercise, it does take a lot of time. The ideal would be to have a single application where I actually capture contracts, timesheets, operational invoicing, terms of customers, sales pipeline, budgets, planned expenses, expense claims, and other elements that makes up cash flow. So one application that actually does this is Consulteaze. Consulteaze is a operational practice management application that was developed specifically for services consulting practices, where it keeps all the transactions in one place, from keeping track of contracts with customers, timesheets that is recorded against projects, the activities and the planning and the project management around that. It invoices the same timesheets to customers, and then if there's a vendors involved, uses the same transactions for vendor invoices. It keeps tracks of budget, commissions, bonus schemes, expense claims, and other cash flow elements that needs to be managed in one place. So what Consulteaze does in terms of the service pillars, it actually supports all the different functions required to support the pillars of a consulting practice. In terms of financial management, it looks after invoicing, cash flow, expense planning, tracking, etc. So what I quite like about Consulteaze is that it actually consolidates all the income and expenses into a proper cash flow. So you've got all your elements, income, expenses, broken down in different areas over time. So you can see in the next 5, 10, etc. days, custom invoices are due, everything to be assignment, pipeline, your expenses related to work already performed, budgeted expenses, expense claims, etc. But it also gives you the detail, so I can see for each customer the invoices raised, the status of that, expense claims, customer claims, you've got your budgets, all of that working down, sales pipeline, and then total income, total expenses, your total flow related to that. So, but the beauty in this is that it's all maintained in the same place. So the core is a customer project with a purchase order for certain work to be done. Timesheets are captured against that. I can see that there's some timesheets here. It's a status new, so it hasn't been invoiced yet. There's some expenses that a consultant claim. If I go in there, I can see there's some claims that this consultant raised. Some of it is claimable, some of it is billable. So when the invoice is raised, it's actually going to bill the customer for this expense, or it's going to raise a claim against the consultant to process that payment. The invoices, so customer invoices is even plotted out in a calendar, so I can see when specific invoices are due, expenses are planned, so I can see for the current and next periods exactly what expenses are budgeted for, and I can even filter down to the detail to maintain those expenses. You then have expense claims, so tracking expenses where a consultant can upload evidence of expense, maybe an invoice or documentation. Expenses could be claimable, billable, it could be a company expense or personal expense. And then you've got various reporting on that as well. You've got some dashboards, got a zoomed in focus on cash flow, looking at just the short term, just on high level items, and various other reporting that assists in the components that makes up cash flow. So in summary, it is important to keep track of all the in and outflows of transactions to ensure that you know exactly what your financial position is going to be in a specific point in time, and if you would be able to service your expenses when you need to. Having a single tool or application that keeps track of all the components that makes up your cash flow and automate that process is extremely valuable and would save you a lot of time and money, and making sure that you've got an accurate reflection of what your financial position is going to be in specific points in time in the future. Thank you for watching this video. If you need more information, welcome to visit our website at consulteaze.com, and looking forward to see you at the next video.